What is going on, everyone? Welcome into the Dynasty Pod. Today we are going to be doing our Week 2 recap and Week 3 preview. A lot of good football. Hope you had some Dolphins on your rosters because they absolutely torched it up. Got some news and notes to get into. You know, we've got some trades to break down and some players to buy and sell. And we're going to be doing some power rankings for our league of record, you know, just to kind of make it a little bit more integral with, you know, personal, and a little bit rusty, guys. You know, I'm feeling a little rust. I just came back from vacation. I'm a little sluggish. That was a terrible intro, but you know what? We
Man,
could
it's
just
all good.
restart.
It's all good.
But
Yeah,
you
run
know,
it back.
we have to This is about
No.
perseverance.
Yeah,
Dan
let's do it.
Campbell wouldn't
We can do
restart.
that.
Dan Campbell would move on, persevere, bite some kneecaps, and that's what I got to do. I got to pick it
All
up,
right.
and I think
Let's keep
I've
rolling.
bounced back enough to the point where I can pass it off to Trev so he can do the news and notes while I recover from that terrible opening.
All right, man. News and notes, mostly just injuries. First one I'm going to bring up, the biggest one, I think, is Trey Lance is out for the season. So he had 2 injuries to his ankle. He had surgery, and the doctors say he should be good for 2023. So that's huge when we're talking about these dynasties. Any thoughts on Trey Lance, guys, as far as like next season, the future goes with Jimmy G still there?
Well, first off, you just have to be so upset for 49ers fans because they had a really bright, promising season ahead of them, and now their quarterback who's brought them to a Super Bowl has to come in and start playing for their team. So it really just – listen, in all seriousness, it sucks for Trey Lance. You know, you never want to see a guy get injured and lose his season, especially a young guy who's just about to start and take over this team. They were about to give him the reins. So, listen, week 1 didn't look too great. That was a slop fest in Chicago. It's a little bit tougher. It's way more scary to take stock in a player that 2 years now has played a total of 3.5 games and is going to be coming off of an ankle injury. Yeah,
He didn't play
so
much in
much build
college
up too, because the whole time he's sitting, 49ers fans are saying, you know, like he just needs to sit a little while and then he's gonna be showing out, and now it's like immediately down.
Yeah. The number one thing that Trey Lance needed was real life game reps, because you know he's played like a total of, I don't know how many games, but he didn't play very many games in college before coming to the NFL, and now he's played two full games as a starter in the NFL. I mean, for me, it's like they went out and got Trey Lance for a reason. So it's like Jimmy G is going to be good, but the 49ers are never going to reach that ceiling with Jimmy G. They know that. That's why they traded everything for Trey Lance. Like Jimmy G is good, but why do they trade all of that draft capital if like they're confident?
I mean,
that
I just
they can
find
be
it
a Super
hard to
Bowl team
believe. Like,
with
if
Jimmy
you
G.
look, Jimmy G got him to a Super Bowl. Didn't play particularly great in the Super Bowl.
He didn't win.
But
He didn't
how
win the
many
Super
teams
Bowl.
are gonna pivot off of a quarterback that brought them to the Super Bowl? If you look at when Jimmy G plays versus when he doesn't play, the 49ers win when he plays and they lose when he doesn't play. So it was
I think they were
kind of weird to me that they pivoted off of Trey Lance. It kind of makes sense with the upside that they probably saw in Trey Lance, his rushing ability, what this offense could have done. I'm assuming Shanahan had a really good plan for him, and we're just not going to get to see it this year. So
I think the plan at some point was to trade Jimmy G.
Yeah.
I mean, they made him the highest paid backup, and he had a trade clause where he could choose to refuse depending on the location. But I mean, I think the whole reason they kept him is because they weren't going to have any value and they couldn't keep him on the team for the cost that he was going to be. So restructure, keep him on the team, but pay him as a backup, and then try to trade him down the road. And now they need him.
yeah, we're going to be talking about the Sunday night game between the 49ers and Broncos, and we'll touch a little bit on what we think of the Jimmy G impact to the fantasy players. So
Yeah,
Go
we'll
ahead.
talk more
So
about it
real
later.
quick,
Yeah. Injury-wise, my only concern is, for a play. I mean, Trey Lance's his main ability was his burst and his explosion and his ability as a runner. So injury-wise, my only concern is does he get all of that back post ankle injury? I think we've seen with Dak that he isn't quite the
So-
runner that
it
he
was
was pre-ankle
very
injury.
similar to the same injury too.
So
Very similar.
I'll let Trev get back to injuries, but real quick, just want to ask, if you are now into your season where it's looking like Trey Lance was your QB1, and now you don't have Trey Lance, season's not looking good. You're projected to be one of the bottom teams in your league. Get a bottom pick, take a quarterback. Would you trade Trey Lance now to try and get value, or do you think his value is not going to be where you want it to be right now?
I hold. Yeah,
I would
hold.
keep Trey Lance.
And then,
That's my
depending
opinion.
on what kind of news, he's still going to have higher value than he is right this minute. Right this minute, it's going to be bottom. So
Yeah.
hold for later.
I don't think you're going to get like a good enough pick to get a quarterback that.
Yeah,
has
but
the
if you're
same
projected to get
ceiling
one
as
of those
Trey
bottom
Lance.
picks, you could
So,
take a quarterback and then get a pick somewhere else and shore up your team. It's just something to think about. But yeah, go ahead and finish up
Sure.
the news.
All right,
Trev.
so two guys are in concussion protocol that actually have some fantasy relevance this week. Duvernay for the Baltimore Ravens and Renfro got laid out for Vegas. Concussion protocols are funny, y'all know that too. So I mean, they could be back, could not. I don't see Renfro coming back quick. It's very possible. But
Yeah,
he got laid out.
just one thing to note: if Renfro misses time, Mac Hollins sneaky waiver wire claim, just might as well. I think he had 3 or 4 target or receptions, so just a guy that they brought in. Maybe take a shot on him.
Also, if he misses time and Waller has another baller game, do you trade high on him then?
I would.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
All right. News about Michael Gallup. He may be able to come back. If he can come back this week, do you play him? Knowing that it's Cooper Rush starting quarterback?
They play Monday night against the Giants. I'm probably gonna stay away just because of the Monday night game, the uncertainty.
Yeah, I'm not starting him either. I was just figured I'd ask. All right, so we got James Conner as well. So it looked like it was going to be a pretty serious injury, but it doesn't look like it's going to be now. So latest news on him is that he may be held out week 3. So if he is held out week 3, are we picking up Eno Benjamin or are we picking up what's the daggone
Darrell
dude's name?
Williams.
Williams. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I lean Darrell Williams. They had almost identical snaps after the injury, but Darrell Williams did end up getting the touchdown. So I just lean him, veteran guy. We've seen more from Darrell Williams. So
Sam?
Yeah, I mean, and this is a dynasty focused podcast. I don't think Eno Benjamin's really on any waiver wires that I've seen. So that makes it a little bit more
good
of a
point.
moot point.
So I'm going to read off some names real quick. You guys tell me if you're starting them this week, if they do come back week 3. These are guys that are projected to come back week 3. So we got Rondell Moore. You starting them?
No.
Michael Pittman.
Yes.
No.
Obviously. Parham.
Yes.
No.
Parham. All right. Pierce.
No.
Who do they play? The Chiefs?
No.
No, I'm not going to start him.
Hillard.
No. That Tennessee offense is brutal.
I would start him. He was getting a lot of receptions. That's just me though.
Yeah, he could be sneaky.
Yeah, the one team that I have him, I actually do need that running back help. So I might play him. Yeah.
Yep.
J.K. Dobbins.
Yes.
I will play him because
I would not.
Looking for me, watching that Dolphins-Ravens game, this running game is abysmal. It is terrible. They need to get the running game going,
it's obvious
and that will be an emphasis for them. So they will try and make it work. If J.K. Dobbins is in, they will make it an emphasis to make it work because they need to get that running game to be a really good team again. Because Kenyon Drake and Mike Davis were terrible.
That's a good point. I
don't even want to talk about it. That game was just watching it was.
It was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might talk about that a little bit. We'll probably talk about
Wando
that in
Robinson?
recap too. Yeah.
No.
Keenan Allen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. George Kittle.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
one thing I want to say
Dwelly's
real
gotten
quick,
a ton of work.
mentioning Wandale Robinson, you guys brought up, you were talking about waiver claims. One of my guys that I really liked for waivers last week was
Yeah.
Richie James, just because he was the leading target guy. Once again, week 2 for the Giants, leading targets, 5 catches, 6 targets, 5 receptions. Not a whole lot of yards. Offense isn't great, but I'd take a shot on Richie James if he's still on your waiver wire.
So good chance Wandale Robinson steps right into those
it's
targets.
possible. But
I know Kenny G.
I mean, I think it's likelier that Wandale Robinson takes that.
Kadarius Toney has
than
0
Richie
yards
James
on the
has it all
season
but-
on 2 targets. He's played under 30% of
Yeah.
the snaps both times. Kenny Galladay's washed. They don't have any other receivers.
Kenny Galladay's played like 20% of snaps or something.
Yeah,
and last one, real quick, KJ Hamler.
But I mean, we've seen.
I think he's an interesting.
KJ
Sorry,
Hamler, no.
if Judy's out, I think he'd be an interesting flex.
That's the only reason he is interesting.
I
yeah.
forgot.
If Judy's in, I'm not starting him. If he's out, I'd consider it. They play the 49ers Sunday night.
Justin Herbert and Alvin Kamara have like extremely similar injuries. They both fractured their rib cartilage, but news out of their camps, AK is probably not gonna start week 3. Herbert has a little more time, but it looks like he might. So either one of those guys pulling up, pulling down for y'all with these injuries?
I mean, it sucks that you're not getting Kamara if he's not playing. Because it really was bothering him week 1. That's why he didn't look so great. And then Justin Herbert, you're going to start him regardless if he's playing. You kind of have to. So.
Well said. All right, and last one here is Julio Jones with his lingering injury, as well as Godwin. So Mike Evans, which apparently he's fighting the suspension. I don't know if you guys seen anything about that, but
Yeah, I didn't.
let's assume the suspension follows through. If Julio Jones is out and Mike Evans is out and Chris Godwin is out, are you playing any Tampa Bay wide receiver with confidence?
Honestly, no.
Scotty
Honestly,
so-
I think it sucks so bad.
Age and company.
So the
So bad.
So the Bucks play
staying away
Green
if that's-
Bay,
I
who
just-
have a really good secondary. So, I mean, they didn't look great against the Vikings, but if Russell
looked
Gage is
really
your
bad
if
against the
Russell
Vikings.
Gage is your number 1 guy, I mean, I kind of expect Jair and Stokes and Amos and Savage to kind of lock up that team. I mean, if Scotty Miller's
think
on your
it'll be
waiver
hard,
and he
yeah.
pops off, maybe you can pick him up, trade him for a 3rd or 4th.
Or Fab. Like
Yeah.
literally just trade him for Fab. Like,
Yeah, so
grab him for
but
0 and trade him for
if
15.
Julio's playing, I'd play him though.
If Julio's playing, if Mike Evans plays, I'm playing either
Mike
one of
Evans is
them.
going to play.
Um,
The NFL really wants to make an emphasis on the Saints and Bucks not fighting each other anymore.
I don't blame him. I mean, I do. That's the history there. So that's something else. That's all I got for news and notes. Y'all got anything?
Nope, that's it. Let's move on. This is probably my segment that I've been most excited to talk about because I'm kind of getting antsy, you know. I talked to you guys. I've got trade fever. I'm looking to see who I can sell and who I can buy. So let's talk about some of our favorite buy sell players. And for me, one guy that I really like is Christian Kirk, because what I've seen out of Christian Kirk in Jacksonville, follow that money, because they paid him and they're using him just like how they paid him. So he got 12 targets week 1, 2 touchdowns week 2. Obviously, I think you're going to have some skittish games with him, but I got to give it up to you, Sam, because you called your shot on Trevor Lawrence and things are looking up in Jacksonville. So
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean, he's been looking really. I mean, week 1 he looked okay. Yeah, last week he looked really good. I think things are trending up. People had doubts about Christian Kirk's ability, but it's like they're using him in the way that they paid him. So
Yeah,
and it's
that's what
working.
I was going to add.
So
they're
it's
using
like,
him
I don't
all
know.
over the
I
field.
mean,
So I mean, it's clear they want to get him involved.
Yeah, they are.
I was starting to rise on Christian Kirk late in the season, but at that point I didn't have any Kirk on my team because we had already pretty much done most of our drafts earlier in the offseason. But I like Kirk. I thought he was good. I just didn't like the fact that he was going to be this lone guy going into Jacksonville in what I thought would be a pretty inefficient offense. But they've looked pretty decent so far. And just to pile onto Christian Kirk with another Jaguars player that I really like, James Robinson. I was scared at the start with the Achilles, but everything I've seen out of James Robinson, this was a guy I really liked before, and I'm gaining confidence.
Yeah, he's a guy. He's got a guy
Yeah.
I bought a lot before the season.
So really like him too.
So guy number 2.
Trev, who you got with your Dynasty buy?
And to be honest with you, a lot of this comes from my already high opinion of, but it's London, fellas. London is here, dude.
Yeah.
He went off, and I'm going to tell you this too. There was a quote by Arthur Smith. Later on, they asked about some involvement of some of the other players.
It's not fantasy football.
He said it's not fantasy football. We're trying to win games. So, I mean, they put the ball in London's hands as often as they can, and he comes down with it. I mean, unless it's overthrown 4 miles up in the air, he comes down with it. So, he had a good week. It would cost you a lot to grab him, but I said it at the beginning of the season. This is as cheap as you're going to get it.
Would it cost
a better quarterback?
Would it cost you two? Would it cost a Falcons fan 2 firsts to get him from a certain sum?
Not just 2 firsts, a likely 101 and like 103 or 4. Like I couldn't do it. I wanted to. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to so bad.
I had to make sure you were gonna pay that premium if I had to get rid of him. But you know how much I love London too. So
I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, dude, name your price. And
Yeah.
he named it. I was like, I can't do it. Can't do it.
No, too much. Yeah, so you guys, I mean, so I'd say Kirk's kind of like, I think you can still get him before he's probably going to blow up now going forward. So I think you could still get him at a reasonable price. Drake London, probably pretty expensive at this point because people drafted him early and now saw what they wanted, right? So they're going to be like, great, this is
the only thing that might help you out is that there have been other rookie performances that have kind of overshadowed him a little bit, with Jahan Dotson having 2 really good weeks back to back, and then Garrett Wilson kind of blowing up last week. So maybe that's the only saving grace.
There.
Yeah. So Traylon Burks is also a guy that I like to. I think Traylon Burks is going to see more work down that. I mean, that Titans offense can't be that bad throughout the whole year. They got to get it right at some point. So
I'm going to give a couple of. You guys kind of give some buy highs. I'm going to give a couple buy lows. First, Kyle Pitts has had. I just think there's no way that he continues to get 5 fantasy points every week. But I mean, I've seen him go up on the trade block in some dynasty leagues where people are like, "Oh man, Kyle Pitts. Yes, now that Drake London's here, he's not going to do anything." And so if you can buy low on Kyle Pitts, I just think that's a slam dunk. I just think there's absolutely zero change in the talent. Maybe he's not getting used crazy right now, but he will in the future. They're going to figure it out. They're working out.
He had games
between him and London's going to be, and when they have a better quarterback,
he had games like this last year too.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about Dynasty, Kyle Pitts. I mean, I said at the beginning of the season, but he was probably going to have a down year with Marcus Mariota not having to use him as like a relief guy. But if you can get him for cheap now, friggin' get him. I know I've tried in a couple different leagues. I can't get anybody to budge, but
yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna hold if I've got Pitts. I mean, I did try and trade Pitts to you, Sam. I tried trading Pitts to you for Andrews, but
yeah,
it's a little bit different. You're in win now, and Andrews is unbelievable.
It's a little bit different. But I have a league where I'm tanking pretty hard. This is a league that thankfully nobody who listens to this podcast yet.
You should.
Hopefully they do. We invite all listeners, and we're on all podcast platforms now. Spotify, Google Podcasts,
Still
Apple
on the
Podcasts,
YouTube.
anywhere you get your podcasts. So I'm sure we'll be getting more listeners by the day. But as of now, the people in this league don't listen, and I offered one of my sell candidates. So maybe I'll start off the sell. One of my sell candidates, Curtis Samuel, Dalton Schultz.
Yeah,
and
that's a
first
pretty good
for
trade right
Kyle
there.
Pitts.
That's a good, yeah. It's a good one.
So I actually it was a second. It was Kyle Pitts, Curtis Samuel, and a second for Kyle Pitts. So I put that out there, trying to buy low on Kyle Pitts. So that's kind of where I'm headed with that. I also have another one on here. I don't know if I want to say or not because I have trade out with someone who does listen to this podcast. But I'd say one, if you're a team that looks like you're going to be in a tank year, I would go after Elijah Mitchell in the same way I went after J.K. Dobbins last year. Like the injury dip in these players is always a great time to buy, in my opinion. And the biggest concern for me for Elijah Mitchell was that they drafted Tyrion Davis-Price, and he sucked and then got injured. So like, there's not going to be this case where he comes in and takes the job away when Elijah Mitchell's out. Maybe Jordan Mason does, but he's undrafted. Well, he's not going to have a lot of draft capital. Yeah. And he was the backup to Tyrion Davis-Price, so he's clearly not showing enough in camp to usurp these guys. So I really have no concern about Elijah Mitchell's role when he comes back. So to me, I think it's a great buy low
for Elijah Mitchell.
Do you want me to tell you what I
Listen, peel back the curtain, help our fans, and
so give them I sent a trade. I sent Khalil Herbert and like a fourth, or like a third, maybe a third. So I offered a running back that's producing now, but at a lesser tier and a low pick. So to me, I think that's a fair trade. Give up a little bit of late round capital and somebody who is producing now, because generally it's gonna be somebody who's like, I want points. Like this guy's not giving me points. I need somebody who gives me points. So
real quick before we move off of these buys. I know I had my little double dip with Christian Kirk and James Robinson, so I got the Jaguars stack there. I really just want to talk about another duo that I'm looking to buy, but I don't think I will be able to, and that's DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was a little bit lower.
You guys are incredible.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
Too bad
I mean, I was a little bit lower on DeAndre Swift, not incredibly low, but it was just the Lions running back, not always the greatest thing, and
injury history,
and Jamal Williams. Man, DeAndre Swift looks so good. That offensive line's good. That offense is playing well, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown is, he's that wide receiver one.
I think I said it in the chat. He's outscored Justin Jefferson's last 12 games. Like, it's just insane to me that like he's been better than Justin Jefferson, and people are still like,
oh yeah. There's still guys that wouldn't take him in the first 3 rounds of a startup, and it's like, even though like
I wouldn't, but I would now. I didn't think he was going to replicate it this season, but I thought it was all forced production. I think you said the same thing, Trev. But anyways, I know we got to move to our sells. I did mention Curtis Samuel. I think he's a good sell high.
Yeah, that's fair.
In Dynasty. I think he's doing well, but he's 26. He's 26, and he's clearly the third option on this team. It just paid Terry McLaurin.
I know,
and it's been a first-round draft pick on Jahan Dotson. He's the third option.
I know. Everything you're saying, it makes sense. What you're saying makes complete sense, but this is also the exact same coaching staff that was in Carolina that wanted to use him and kind of unlocked him a little bit, before his break. I don't know. Listen, I'm not.
I think it's a Carson Wentz bug right now.
Yeah, there are always those wide receivers, and Curtis Samuel looks more so to be that guy because he is the third guy. Terry McLaurin, beast, Jahan Dotson, first-round pick, looks really good. So you're right. He is a sell high, but I don't have him, so thankfully I don't have to make this decision. But for me, it'd be a little bit hard because Curtis Samuel has looked pretty good.
What would you be trying to get as an upgrade? Like, let's say you were trying to upgrade a wide receiver. You had Curtis Samuel and I don't know,
I would look to go Curtis Samuel plus something for Kirk, if you could do that.
yeah, that's pretty good. Kirk's
That's a
got a
good one.
really high
Yeah,
floor.
I'd go Curtis
Yeah.
Samuel plus
Yeah.
Schultz for Pitts. So I mean, I'm trying to package him in. That's what I'm doing. I'm going after wide receiver needy teams. I'm packaging him
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
for
I love it.
higher
I mean,
floor.
so Curtis Samuel is a guy that you're going to be selling, while his stock is high. These next two guys that we're going to talk about are guys that you were
Three.
selling at the bottom of the barrel price. So we don't you might not even want to sell these guys because of the value you might not even be getting for them. And that's Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. Guys, it's looked terrible. Cole Kmet, 2 gooses.
Yeah, it looks real bad.
Darnell Mooney, 2 catches for, what does he have? 4 yards? 0 yard? I don't even know. He had -3 yards this past week, right? So I think he's got 4 yards on the season. So I mean,
It's bad.
Justin Fields completed 15 passes in the last 2 games. They were down to the Packers, and he completed 11 passes, or threw 11 passes, I believe. So
it was all 3 and outs. I mean, you can't move the chains, you can't get passes in.
Yeah,
so.
I mean it's Montgomery and no one else. I'm not trusting anyone else right now. And even Montgomery was looking a little shaky until they decided, you know what, screw it. We're not even going to pass when we're down. We're just going to run the ball. And Sam, I sent the trade out to you in the middle of that game. I was like, hey, David Montgomery and Jacoby Myers for Leonard Fournette. This is a redraft league. But halfway through, I was looking at it, and I'm like, oh, shit, David Montgomery has 100 yards. Withdrawal, but you already accepted it. I listen, Lenny tweeted out, touchdowns are coming, so I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried. He's got me.
Yeah, hey, he's got you.
He's got you.
He's got you.
So, yeah, just
I mean, what do you with these guys for real? Because they are like we put them in sell, but like, do you think you can get anything remotely worth what you probably paid for them or held them for?
Probably not. You're probably gonna have to package them to get something close to, like, maybe Mooney plus something to get Elijah Moore, because he's also not had like a great. And I know that's something you would do.
Elijah Moore's
Yeah. So I mean, but
potential buy
they
low.
were right around the
That's a good one.
same price range in terms of draft. So Mooney, Moore were going near each other. So maybe try and look to package and upgrade. It's tough, but those are guys that I don't really want on my roster. It's not looking good in Chicago, and I don't think it's going to be too much better. So
No, it's terrible. This one will be quick. I threw in Tolbert in there. Jalen Tolbert, Dallas wide receiver. I mean, they're empty at wide receiver, and he's still.
What are you talking about?
Getting set.
I think you said in the running gun league that the wide receiver one, Noah Brown, was you were trying to sell him wide receiver one for the team.
He is the wide receiver one
I
right
thought you
now.
said he was the wide receiver one.
That's the truth of it. That's the
Yeah, but they're not
saddest
depleted.
part.
They've got CeeDee Lamb and Noah Brown. It's a great
dude.
deal.
I'm just saying, this guy that you probably grabbed in the second round of your rookie draft, if you can get a second for him, I'd go for it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in any of that future that could have happened. This is when we talk about talent versus opportunity. I know all 3 of us are talent over opportunity, but.
Would you say Jalen Tolbert for a second? I've drafted him in the 3rd.
Yeah.
Ain't no one spending a second on Jalen Tolbert.
Either way.
I got one of our
Jalen Tolbert
in
was
our
going in the 3rd round, and now he looks bad.
In our rookie mock that we did earlier in the season, I got him at the 312. So
even better. But if you can get any kind of third for him, fucking pardon me.
Yeah.
Bleep and get him.
Sure. A 3rd. Now
It's a family-friendly podcast, Trev.
Just when we go to edit, just do the beep. Just do the beep for me real quick.
We'll get the beep going.
Keep it handy.
I'll have to put make a note of
just
this.
to add
space right over my mouth.
Just to add on to Tolbert also, I don't want anything to do with Zeke. If you can get anything for Zeke, I'm trading him. He's done.
He's a good. I think.
That's what I
some value for Zeke. More than Tolbert. Tolbert is nothing.
But
Tolbert is
I'm not
dropping
starting
to
Zeke
the
with any
waivers.
confidence, and
So,
I don't think I'm gonna start Zeke with confidence for the rest of the year. I know that's yeah.
No, I'm just saying. I think
So
you
if
could
you can
trade him
get,
for some.
would you
value.
trade Zeke for? Do you think you can get Zeke for Miles
I
Sanders?
think it's a good sell.
If you sent that trade, I mean, I would take
wouldn't.
Miles Sanders,
looks good.
if you send that, maybe you can get
But maybe,
So
because of name
yeah,
value.
exactly. So that's the
Maybe
type of
because
player I
name
would look to
value, you
upgrade
could, yeah.
to get, or even James Robinson. You know, some of the yeah.
Yeah,
So if
or
you can
J.K.
upgrade
Dobbins before he comes
instead
back.
of having Ezekiel Elliott,
I think you could do that. Hey, you want
Yeah.
Zeke for this guy that hasn't
yeah,
even played
Zeke,
yet?
he's on the Cowboys, and
Oh.
he makes a lot of money.
I think you gotta just hold him and hope that he does something
I'm
this
not
year.
holding
I
him.
mean, I don't think
We'll
anybody's
see.
taking Zeke in any of those trades. Is all I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like I think Zeke
Yeah,
is in the
probably not.
category now where you're talking about backup running backs. I mean,
Yeah.
It's
Zeke's
tough.
a starter
Yeah.
for Herbert.
But
Who you taking?
Who?
Khalil
yeah,
Herbert. I'm just
Khalil.
saying. Like,
I feel you. But
I think that's the kind of tier we're on. Is
Wait,
what my
what?
point. I don't think you can get him for like a Miles Sanders.
Sure.
I think you're gonna have to get him for a
Sure.
backup.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll
Anyways,
move
I feel
on.
like we gotta
We'll
move
move on
on.
to our power rankings. This is our Run and Gun'em League, our very cherished league of record, where yeah, that's
Let me pull these people's teams up so I can either critique
listen, very
them or
prestigious
say how
league
good they are.
here, where the loser at the end of the year, Trevor, is going to a diner.
Yeah, if you sent your suit to the dry
Yeah,
cleaners
Goodell.
to dress up as
Yeah, Roger Goodell.
Roger Goodell.
Is,
Can't wait to be booed while we draft. That's gonna be my favorite part.
Are you excited to?
You had a
I
small
draft
chance of
like
not being
6 of
last
the players.
until you traded me like 5 players, and then it's like.
So just to preface this, for anyone watching who's a little confused, the loser of our league, our Run and Gun'em League, has to dress up in a suit during our draft and announce all the picks and get booed like Roger Goodell does. And then also there is the Waffle House challenge, or diner challenge, where you have to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House, and for every waffle you eat, you remove 1 hour from your time.
It's pancake, sir. It's pancake. I'm gonna clarify right now. It's pancake.
I think waffles are easier than pancakes, but
No, I love waffles,
don't like
but
waffles?
pancakes are way easier than
I
waffles.
think that's wrong. I think pancakes are. Yeah, you think?
I think pancakes are easier too. Yeah, I could eat a stack of. I mean,
Yeah.
you get
But
an
you're
hour
not
off
getting
each
like
pancake
what
you
diner are
eat,
you going to where
right?
you're getting like thin pancakes?
You
If you
can
go
eat
to
a- you can eat a
Waffle House,
stack of-
those waffles are like
actually,
pretty
yeah,
thin.
after 3 or 4, I'm like, after 3 or 4.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be there for about 18 hours.
Anyways, I'm excited to see it, Trev.
Yeah,
Thank
listen,
you for taking the sacrifice.
Trev, I was
for
right there
year
with
one.
you.
For those who don't know, Trev's team looks like a vampire
Really
Trev,
squad.
does.
do
If
you
you've never
want
played
to name your
Vampire
star
before,
players?
He literally only has waiver wire
So
players
my
left
star,
on his team.
I was about to
just traded
say,
me his
we're
last
getting
5
to that trade
starters.
in a minute,
So.
but my star players currently on the squad are going to be McCorkle Jones, known as Mac Jones.
Enough said.
Yep, that's that. And maybe Isaiah McKenzie. I like him if he ends up being in the slot role, but that's pretty much it. So
You know what?
Looks
I
like a
think
shared
your
slot
team
role
can be
team
summed up
at
in
this
one
point,
sentence.
so.
You started Mike Boone. Mike Boone.
Mike Boone.
Started Matt Breida last week.
RB2, Mike Boone.
So very clearly
so
we've
bad.
got Trev at the bottom here.
Yeah, clearly 12.
Yeah, we don't need to spend too much time on his
Just
team.
poking fun at Trev here. Do we want to go inverse now? Do we want to talk about Jamin?
Sure, yeah, let's go inverse,
Yeah.
and then we'll get to the best last. I like that.
So we've got Jay Stevens at 11 now, and not a terrible team. I like the team.
Yeah, the thing is, like, his team, if you look at the players, like, should be pretty good. But he's like, what, second to last?
He's only
scoring
beating me
points
by like 15 or 20 or something. Like his points for are pretty bad.
Yeah, so you've just got some
He's had
question.
some injuries, I think.
Dak Prescott out for him. So Davis Mills is his quarterback 2. Tom Brady not looking great as his quarterback 1. So quarterback play isn't too great for him.
Yeah.
He's got Henry and Swift, so Swift is great. Henry I'm a little worried about, but
Henry looks,
receivers, he's starting
rough.
Chase Claypool, so that's not great. He's got Jerry Jeudy, who's hurt. Hawkinson is pretty good. Rashad Penny, Michael Carter, So that's your
Michael
starting
Carter
lineup.
looks
So
okay,
it's
but I think
right
it's
now
gonna
for me,
fade
it's
towards
just
the end of the season.
a team that looks a little incomplete. So
Agree. For me,
I think it's tough for him too because he has a very old roster.
yeah,
And he doesn't look very good this year. He has Brady, Henry, Keenan Allen, Robert Woods. So he's in a tough position.
We're talking about these rankings, but only in regards to this year. Like, we're not looking at picks. So
yeah.
especially when we're talking about in regards to
Yeah,
this year,
yeah.
me,
I'm not.
there's
exactly.
a tier break right here. So it's me and him at the bottom too, and then there's a tier break.
Well, I would give you a tier to yourself, but
yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even have players on your team.
Yeah.
Jay Stevens has players on his team.
That's
so
what- yeah.
But he's in a tough spot. Yeah, it's true. We're talking about rankings for this year, but I'm just saying, like, he's in a tough spot going forward.
Make some trades,
You know,
Keenan Allen, DeAndre
And
Swift.
I guess in the nature of this being somewhat an advice podcast, if I had his team, I would.
Yeah, I would be
selling
trying to
every
sell
one of those players.
Henry, Brady, all the old guys, Keenan Allen. I would probably try and
Yeah.
sell DeAndre Swift to Brendan.
That's what I said. That would be
Yeah.
my first move would be try to trade him to the Georgia homer over here. Because
Yeah.
he's got plenty of assets.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you have the most
Plenty of
picks.
assets
You
to
have the
give
most
him.
picks.
So
You could probably pay the most for him. I don't have squat anymore.
I'm good with him being my
zero
entire
draft capital,
team.
so
That's fine.
anyway.
All right. Now let's move on and hurt two people's feelings here because we've got Wyatt and Cap who co-own a team together, and the team itself isn't bad. I like the
It's a good
team.
team.
There's just
Yeah.
one massive problem with the team, and it's the quarterback play. So they've got
They're screwed at quarterback. I mean, other than the fact that they have
Yeah.
maybe Malik Willis,
Baker Mayfield, Ryan
someday.
Tannehill, Geno Smith. Not really any confidence in the quarterbacks going in there. And it really is a shame because you have good players, but also those players right now aren't performing as well. So that's also another reason why I have them a little bit lower. So you got Najee and Javante who haven't looked great. Now,
Yeah.
Najee has looked not good at all because that offensive line is bad in Pittsburgh.
And
But-
Javante's getting a lot of his stuff taken up by Melvin Gordon. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's and bad coaching.
He's
he looks
looked very
fantastic.
good, but I mean, I think we all said, I think all three of us were very much coming into the season that it would be an even split
Yeah.
again. So, and which it has. So, he's got a tough look ahead for this year. Also, the fact that he has Akers, which he probably
did.
spent high draft capital on, and that's basically a complete.
Yeah, I
dud
mean,
now.
good
I mean, it's
player.
just
Like,
zero.
listen, if Cam Akers can pull it back, and that's good. But he's also got AJ Dillon, Michael Gallup, Traylon Burks on bench. Those are bench players, and
He
Calvin
does have
Ridley. So
James
for
Robinson.
dynasty wise, like the team looks good. Just really going to need to figure out quarterback going forward. But even
Yeah, and that's the thing in Superflex Dynasty. If you're getting like 5 points
Your
every
team's
week at the
terrible.
quarterback position, I mean, it's like a
Yeah.
40 to 50 point deficit sometimes.
yeah, I mean, even
honestly,
It's just
if you're
very hard
getting
to
10
overcome that.
points a bad week, you're already losing by 30. So,
yeah. Yeah, two really
Yeah,
good
that's what I'm
receivers
saying.
to
That's what I'm
start for
saying, yeah.
Bateman and Marquise Brown, but I wouldn't say either of those two are elite. And with the play you're getting from your other players, you'd like to have an elite player at the receiver position, and you don't have that. So
you don't think Bateman's elite?
yeah,
He kind of doesn't have anything after that either. Like he's got rookies after that, but he doesn't
I gotta-
have really
I got
anybody
to
else.
chime out.
after
You don't
that.
think Bateman's elite? I just want to
What?
hear that one more time.
listen, I love Bateman. Bateman has been very, I wouldn't say lucky, because obviously the skill of getting 2 weeks back to back 55 plus yard touchdowns, really good. But if you don't have those touchdowns, we're talking about Bateman in a very different light. So I like Bateman, and if this is something Bateman's going to do going forward. Which also Bateman looks so fast. Like that was one of the knocks on him coming out of college is that he looked a little bit slower. Bateman looks really good. So, and I like that offense. But yeah, so
No, he's not elite. Gotcha.
yeah. Next up, we got Lipster, who had himself a pretty good week this week.
What a
Almost
great week.
came out with a victory, and we'll talk about him a little bit later in the starts and stinkers segment that we got. But yeah, really good quarterback play out of one of their quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, and then Jared Goff, serviceable. So
Lamar Jackson went off.
yeah,
He killed me in one league by himself.
I think, Hipster especially, I think he drafted specifically like to be, he went after what was called in the Dynasty community, the productive struggle, so I think he went for a tank team this year with the intent of being very good in the future because his team has like serious like potential. But like the fact that he's starting Brees and Kenneth Walker at running back, like the top two rookies from this year. But,
yeah, and I mean,
and then he has Rashad White after that.
Just
I was
'cause
gonna
we're-
say, I would
extremely,
look at him for next
extremely
year.
young.
That's really
I think just because we're talking about it now, just because it's going to be brought up later on in the stinker and the trades that we've got. So I just want to talk about it now. I traded Rashad White to him for Darrell Henderson. And if he had kept Darrell Henderson and played him, he would have won this week. So that was a stinker for me.
that's
And
brutal.
yeah, so
Oh man.
I traded away Rashad White because
I think Hipster was on
Mhm.
the stinkers last
And
week too.
I hate to just
So
double
it's
down,
two
but
in a
I
row.
added to that. I seen where you had put Rashad White on his. I
Mhm.
doubled down. He also played Metcalf over Lockett,
yeah.
and that would have been the difference as well. So like this man literally had about 3 different moves he could have made to win this week, and he could.
But
just couldn't
so
put it together.
so we're dogging on his team, but overall this is a good team. So
I love
Yeah, that's what I'm
Lester's team.
saying. Like he
Yeah,
has
like
a lot
Amon-Ra.
of great players on his team. I have Dynasty Ranker pulled up just as that's what I'm looking at everybody's players. And he is according to Dynasty
I mean,
Ranker,
yeah, his
second
receivers:
most
Amon-Ra,
overall
St.
talent.
Brown, C.D.
So
Lamb, DK Metcalf. That is great young talent.
especially
Yeah.
with Amon Ra,
And then Michael Thomas and Olave.
And
So
he
you've
has
got
Olave.
that. And
If
he's
he
also
can-
got Lockett.
yeah,
So he's got the Seahawks receiving room and the Saints receiving room. So
That's what I was going to say. If he can capitalize on some of the older guys when they have good weeks, if he can capitalize on that, that man's going to have a beat to the team.
He's just gonna have to draft. He's gonna have to hit on a quarterback.
yeah, and
'cause
he's also going to
gonna
need Brees
somebody
Hall to
replace
break out,
Goff.
and then look for either Kenneth Walker to break out, or to get
Kenneth
another
Walker.
running
and
back.
Kenneth Walker to break out.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
good team. Next up, we get to talk about my team. Oh, great.
So what number are we on? We haven't been saying numbers.
Right. Not the worst.
What number are we on?
Not the worst. Not the.
Yeah, 8th ranked.
Yeah, Brendan is the
So,
8th team.
okay.
Honestly, I don't know how I have the 8th ranked team because going into the season, I really thought I wasn't going to be great. But I made trades to get. So my mainstays of this team, the quarterback, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. Get that young tandem stack going. It's really the pride and joy of this team, along with my young receivers, Jalen Waddle, Drake London, and yeah, Nico Collins.
Nico
Yeah,
Collins.
so
We're like trying to get out there.
I don't.
He had a great week.
Yeah, I don't know why I
last week.
thought I
Nico
DJ
Collins
Chark had a
pretty
good week one.
last week.
So he's got folks.
Yeah.
Oh, you're looking for Bateman on your roster
Yeah.
who we just read off of someone else's roster?
Real quick, I think I need to defend myself for like 15, 20 seconds because you guys were dogging on me, all right? Telling me that DJ Chark was starting Romeo Dubs over DJ Chark. DJ Chark had about 3 fantasy points into the last 2 minutes of that game. And then also my Broncos Buccaneers Super Bowl pick. Yeah, all right, it's terrible. The Broncos suck, all right? What? All right, is that what you want to hear from me, everyone? The Broncos suck. Russell Wilson's not good at football. Cortland Sutton's going to be stuck with another terrible quarterback for his career. Burn it down. Burn it all down. I'm done. No
no.
more
good take.
Broncos for fantasy. I'm scarred.
I think we just have to hope Nathaniel Hackett is the new
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Matt
Adam
Nagy /
Gase
Adam
is,
Gase.
I think that's way closer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chicago misses Matt Nagy. Chicago misses Matt
He's
Nagy
bad,
right
man.
now.
He's bad.
Yeah.
I've watched both of those games now. And he
They
looks
beat the
bad.
Texans. They beat your team, Sam. It doesn't
yeah.
feel like they won. It feels like that's an 0-2 team.
I know.
They won. Yeah, that's
forget
crazy.
That they actually won that game. Yeah. I mean, no, to me, that was the moment that I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Davis Mills is not the quarterback because we couldn't beat the Broncos when, like, they gave it to Davis Mills, said, win this game. The Broncos said, win this game, and he could not do it. He cannot throw the ball more than 15 to 20 yards downfield accurately. So, hey, we found out what we needed to know about Davis Mills. We'll get a high pick.
Yeah,
CJ
just
Stroud.
to sum up my team real quick because we can move on because there's not too much. So I got Burrow, Herbert, my receivers. Yeah, great quarterbacks. I got
Great
Jalen Waddle,
quarterbacks.
Drake London, Cortland Sutton, and then Romeo Doubs is
Pretty
a sleeper
solid at
pick
wide receiver.
if he breaks out. And then I have zero
Running
good running
backs
backs.
suck.
Daryl Henderson is my only actual valuable running back for fantasy, and he's not even that great. So, yep,
Yeah.
nothing special. But that
Who's
is
our number
Maddox.
17?
That is what I will be calling him. I know you guys were, the MTTX.
Thank you. No,
in my head it has always been
pronunciations,
Maddox,
please.
so
love
we'll
it.
go with Maddox. If Maddox doesn't like us
Maddox is
pronouncing it
perfect.
Maddox, then too bad.
You have to listen to the pod
And we
say
still
something in
might
the
not
chat
listen
if
to
you
you,
don't
so
want us to say.
it's all right.
I'm also from time to time, you guys might also hear me call him McCloskey because that's close to his last name, and that's I knew somebody with the same last name. So I often, when I read it as McCloskey.
Nice.
So just so you know.
So Maddox to me is
extremely.
an underperforming team. I think like his
the
roster
aforementioned
is very good.
Suckle Wilson didn't work.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know what? That's what he deserves. All right,
Nice.
a terrible
Nice
nickname.
try.
No more Mr. Unlimited for you, Russell Wilson.
You gotta let him cook those ramen noodles, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, Sam. This is a very underperforming team that has talent.
Yeah.
When your running backs are Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like that's pretty crazy. And Josh Jacobs. I mean,
Josh Jacobs too.
If I were Maddox, I'd look to try and trade one of these guys. Because I don't think you need 5 of these guys.
Yeah, I think he needs a little bit. I think he probably needs an upgrade at wide receiver. He has Mike Williams and Deontay, and then Gabe Davis, but I think he's probably hoping for a little bit more from Juju, Amari, and Kadarius Toney.
I was gonna say Amari had a get right week, but also I'm just spitballing. He may be waiting for like a CMC boom week where he can capitalize on something like that.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
And then
his running backs haven't performed to what they should. So
Dallas Goedert, pretty good tight end. I don't know about you guys. So coming into the season, I know we had talked about it. I was really rising on the Eagles. I know you guys were still a little bit down on Jalen Hurts. Last 2 weeks, Eagles have looked really good. Are you?
I think I said it maybe 5 times in the chat during last night's game. Yeah. Like Jalen Hurts looks incredible. I think I'm completely wrong on him.
I mean,
I would rank him way higher.
The addition of AJ Brown to that team is night and day. Like it is crazy how, and even the subtraction from the Titans.
I mean, that's what happens.
Like
right?
you can tell, like the value of that one single player, ridiculous.
It's incredible, like what the value. I mean, same with the Dolphins, right? Adding Tua to the Dolphins, and I mean, Tua already looks better with Jalen Waddle last year, but now he looks incredible with Tyreek Hill, and it's just the value of like a true number 1 wide receiver.
Well, especially when you have such a capable 2. Waddle and Smith were both drafted to be a 1, and then you pull in a true 1.
That's true. If you have a capable 2,
that team.
Because then they can't focus on the number 1 guy. Well, I mean, Josh Allen did it with really only.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Speaking
for a
of
while,
speaking of
but, anyways,
yeah,
not
speaking of
much to
Josh
say about
Allen, let's
that.
jump into
So,
our
yeah.
top half of the league, going number 6 with false, and his quarterback is Josh Allen. And if you're going, wait, this guy is Josh.
You
Yeah, I
can't.
mean,
Nah, if you have Josh
you're
Allen,
probably
you
even
have a
thinking,
top
hey,
six
he's
at
got
this
Josh
point.
Allen.
Yeah.
Why is he not higher than why is he at 6? And it's because he's got and he's got Jalen Hurts. So
I was about to say, who's his QB2? That's why he's
Yeah,
ranked so high for me. By
best
far,
quarterbacks in the
yes,
league.
those two.
yeah, there
Best
are just
quarterbacks in
some
the
really
league, for
big
sure.
problems after that. Yeah. So
After
running backs,
that.
he's got Gibson and Montgomery, who not high end running backs, but serviceable right now. Gibson's a little bit more of a question mark going forward into the season. Montgomery looks to be good, but might not have that high end value because that offense is going to be bad. So might not get
both
touchdowns from him.
capable.
So you could,
Mhm.
yeah, you're
Brian Robinson's probably coming back soon, which is
yeah. So
like,
you're looking
gonna
at
be a
between like
huge
10
hit
to 20
Gibson's
points for
value.
these guys. Like you're probably not going to get too much fluctuation from them. So you're a little bit capped, but you don't have a bad running back room. And then he's got Ramondre Stevenson, so nothing crazy. It's the receivers for me. So he does have Christian Kirk, who we all like.
Mm-hmm.
After that is the problem. He's got he has Pittman.
Yeah,
Okay,
Pittman.
yeah, and Hopkins too. So looking good for later on,
Hopkins
but
coming back eventually, but Mooney
right now it
is
has
tough.
Mooney, yeah,
Mooney's
and then also
yeah. He has your my guy Rondale Moore, you know. So I mean, right? I'm sure.
Well,
Once
let me
Rondale
ask you
Moore
a question.
goes
If you can
off
pull it
Trev,
up real quick,
you know.
where is he ranked for you guys versus me? Because I'm listening to all these players going check, check, check.
not
false.
Maddox
Maddox, let me
false.
pull it up. Y'all keep talking.
Well, we also
false.
so he's got Donovan Peoples-Jones and Tyler Higbee in his flex.
You have false
Yeah.
third. You have false.
So I mean,
number 3.
listen. I like the players. It's just
He's
right now. So basically, for us, the way we do the rankings is not dynasty wise. We do them week to week.
Yeah.
More like power rankings. When you're starting Donovan Peoples-Jones and a tight end in your flex, not great. Even if Higbee had a good week, you're not going to get a great week from Higbee every week. So just having that, basically 3 positions not really doing much for you. So good team look going forward. Definitely going to be great going forward, but right now, just a little limited.
Yeah, come get McKenzie, false. Come get him.
All right, we've got our final guy of the podcast, Sam, your team, and I don't know. I think I had you a little bit higher. I could be wrong. I don't have the rankings, so if you want to pull the rankings up, and do I have?
You have. I have myself.
Okay, never
4,
mind. So
you
you're
both
just a
have me at
narcissist, is what we're getting at. Yeah, I mean, not when you have Daniel Jones and Marcus Mariota at quarterback.
Well,
I
I
was just
had
about
to be
to
fair. I
say,
had
he
Trey
made.
Lance.
We'll talk
He
about it in
just
a
got
minute,
it.
but he made an
So-
upgrade there.
Trev's always tooting his own horn on his trades. Best trade this guy's
Yeah.
ever made.
So
you know?
the reason why your team is so stacked is your quarterbacks do suck, but everywhere
Running
else
back,
you have home run players essentially.
Yeah.
So
I basically prioritized every other
which,
position.
as you said not too long ago, if you're taking crappy quarterback play, it's a downside. So
yeah. I mean, again, so I made it.
yeah, and you have to
I
pivot
had
to
Trey
Mariota.
Lance. So I was betting on a lot of production from Trey Lance. So
You
I had to
better
pivot to
go out
Mariota
and
there.
get
So that
Desmond
was a
Ridder
big hit.
too,
Yeah.
to secure that quarterback room. So to talk about your
right.
bright
No,
spots,
thank you.
which is everywhere else on your team. Jonathan Taylor,
literally the whole team.
Nick Chubb, and J.K. Dobbins, Kareem Hunt, and Devin Singletary, who you like, but not that great. So I
did just get James Cook, so hopefully I'll have, and I have Zach Moss. So whichever Bills running back,
which will be none of them. But
I'm just gonna start all 3 and get 12 points. Like that's
probably
really
not,
the
probably
max.
not. But
listen,
you're
all
right.
you need to say, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb. Yeah,
JT,
that's
Chubb,
ridiculous.
Dobbins, and
No,
Hunt
and J.K.
is-
Dobbins. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jonathan Taylor,
No,
Nick
I mean
Chubb.
throw J.K. Dobbins in there.
Yeah,
sure.
but the two though. Like I mean,
Unless he
Jonathan
can
Taylor,
play,
crazy week 1, Nick Chubb, nuclear in week 2.
Crazy week.
So
Yeah.
if you can get that boom performance from one of them a week, then you're going to be happy if the other one can kind of just be mediocre. So
Yeah.
Love your receivers. AJ Brown, T Higgins, your 2 starting receivers. Love it. Great players. Terry McLaurin, Brandon Ayuk in your flex. Yeah.
So you just sent offers out for Ayuk. I completely agree. If we didn't talk about the buy, but I'm having the buy too, just because.
Yeah, and I
DG
actually-
loves Brandon Ayuk.
I thought
Right.
I thought Ayuk was actually a sneaky
And I
start
think-
going into last week too, because of the way the first game happened with the rain. I thought Ayuk was really gonna have a bounce back week, even with Trey
Yeah.
Lance. But the fact that it's Jimmy Garoppolo now, really love him season long. Like I think Ayuk is really really good.
I think part of that too is if they use the pieces around him appropriately, Ayuk really becomes a 1B versus a 2. Because when you're using, Devo as a running back, he's not on the field as a wide receiver as much. And so, I mean, Ayuk really has a chance to blow up here.
Yeah, and with Kittle's health kind of up in the air, it really just sucks. But it seems like Kittle can't stay healthy. So if Kittle misses even more time at some point in the season, which we don't know if he's going to play week 3, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Ayuk has
So
always
I
looked
mean,
good
he's a
when
smash
Kittle's
play if
been
Kittle
in.
misses any more time. So and then Freiermuth is your tight end. So
Fantastic.
yeah, I
tight
mean,
end. Yeah.
He's looked
any of the
really
worry
good.
you had about Freiermuth and that offense being a little stale, and the fact that Ben Roethlisberger had his noodle arm thrown to Freiermuth, I mean, you don't got to worry. Yeah,
Well,
Trubisky is not
also has
looking
a
good.
middle arm, so. I mean, I saw a chart of all of Trubisky's completions. He does not have a single completion more than 10 yards downfield in the middle of the field. It's literally like an arc. It's either on the line of scrimmage or on the sideline. He has one
Yeah, which
completion
is
in the
actually
middle of the field that's more than 10 yards downfield.
yeah, it's really funny. I
He's
just
been
noticed
god
that
awful.
Trubisky is also your quarterback 3 on that team, so that's funny. Yeah.
But I have Kenny Pickett.
He's got a
so,
stack
but
with the move.
Yeah.
Let's move on from
Yeah,
me. We've
so,
talked about
hey, I
it for
do-
a while.
Yeah, we
Well,
got
to
to
be
talk
fair,
about
it's our
our
podcast,
players.
so.
All right, moving on. We got M Long, who comes in at number 4. Just a solid team. Don't think there's a whole lot that's like crazy. Like there's some really good players, but I think it's a little bit more boom bust than overall like a stable team that you have, Sam, aside from your quarterback play. But so you got Kyler Murray, Carson Wentz as quarterbacks. When Carson Wentz, I mean, you have no clue what that dude's gonna do when he steps on a football field. So.
Yeah.
No. I mean, we'll see when he goes up against some tougher defenses, but it's not like their schedule's, surrounded by him. So.
Yeah. Running backs. He's got Kamara, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders. When Kamara gets back healthy, I think all 3 of those guys great running backs to have. And then Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Jahan Dotson. So he's really swinging the fences with the rookie picks, and kind of paying off for him now. Yeah.
Yeah, looking like good picks too. And even though he has Cole Kmet at tight end, who he said has been bad, right now Evan Ingram is playing extremely well for the Jags. I mean, he looks like it's almost unfair. He wears a wide receiver number on his jersey. He lines up as a wide receiver. He's basically the Jags, one of the Jags wide receiver options. So, which honestly is how he should have always been used, because he kind of sucks as a tight end.
Exactly.
So, but so even though he's lost the value.
Yeah, and he's got Mike Evans, Adam Thielen on his bench right now. Deshaun Watson also sitting on his bench. So, and then he's got
Golly, Deshaun! Oh my God!
Yeah.
When he gets Deshaun Watson back,
so
this team's gonna be good.
Kyler
Murray, Deshaun Watson. Jeez.
All right, our bronze medalist, Wubba Lubba Dub Dub, gets our bronze medal here. And
The man with the voice for radio.
Yeah. Yep.
I love his voice. I'm not even gonna lie about him. So jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jefferson and
that's
Jamar
basically what you
Chase
need
on the
to.
same
And Cooper
team.
Kupp. And Cooper Kupp. And Cooper Kupp. I mean,
and
listen,
Cooper Kupp.
if I'm being
Cooper
completely
Kupp.
honest,
Oh yeah, and Cooper Kupp.
And Kyle Pitts. So
I was gonna say,
Kyle Pitts hasn't even been good yet,
backing up a hair, I traded him Justin Jefferson and Kyle Pitts, and I targeted him because I seen the other weapons he had, and I was like, bro, he's not gonna deny this trade. He didn't even counter; he just sent it through. It made me feel bad. Like I could have got more. I was like, all right. Like this man knows.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. That's a set.
To be completely honest, I mean, he's getting hard carried by his receivers and tight end because Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins is your quarterback.
Well, he has not.
Well,
been
yeah,
by
but
his
I
tight
mean,
end
listen,
yet,
for Dynasty, even though this is not Dynasty, but still, Kyle Pitts bounce back.
Yeah, we all agree.
Especially
Kyle
this
Pitts
week.
will
I think
be
they
better,
don't they play the.
They win. They've gone up against two very tough defenses so far. The Rams and the Saints are both tough defenses. So
Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has been all right. First game, I think the Philadelphia defense is legit. So better day.
Dude, every time I feel like
he just does Kirk Cousins stuff.
Is so good. He just reminds me why he's like why he's not. Is that interception he threw at the end of the game? Was like you
can't even be mad at him though. You're like that's
that almost looked as bad as DJ Dallas's interception.
So yeah,
Kurt.
Which was one of the worst football plays I've ever seen.
Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, nothing special at quarterback. Also old at quarterback. Running backs not particularly great. Travis Etienne, Damian Harris.
He's basically just
he is just trying to get 30 points from Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase every week.
Yeah.
And score. Listen, if you're going to do it with 3 receivers, it will be those 3 guys. So yeah, let's move on because we got a little bit more. I would say the 2 most well-rounded teams. And even this team is a little bit shaky, but you got some good players. So Bogard comes in at number 2 for us, which means that
here's my number 1.
J-Men coming in number 1 for us. So let's talk about T-Bog real quick. Patrick Mahomes, and then now you got the emergence of Tua as his quarterback too. Also have Garoppolo and Flacco. So and Zach Wilson. So
and Zach
quarterback
Wilson.
Definitely going to be good at some point, with your rotation. Running backs still not fully bought in. You know what? For me, the Saquon Barkley hype, I was like, all right, crap. I was wrong on Saquon Barkley. And then it kind of went away a little bit. So maybe I still think I'm wrong. Saquon Barkley looks good, but I think we need to temper expectations.
He showed the talent. Trash. The problem is he still plays for the Giants.
Saquon Barkley, Cordero Patterson, James Conner, Ezekiel Elliott, running backs. Not too crazy about it. So this is the reason for me why he's not number 1. But listen.
Yeah, that's fair. And his wide receivers are iffy.
But
after
2 guys that are really great.
So
yeah, Tyreek and Debo.
Those are great.
Love
great
Mark Andrews.
Great first 2.
Yeah, Mark Andrews is a big piece.
And then he has Mandrews. So I'd say quarterback, tight end, incredible. Running back, wide receiver.
Yep.
Just to remind everybody, we do half PPR for running back, full PPR for wide receiver, and 1.5 for tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. All right. So to me, the most well-rounded team, J-Men. Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr at quarterback. Not crazy, but solid. Going to be on offenses that are projected to be in shootouts because a lot of their schedule is playing AFC West and NFC West teams. So I like that. Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette, Looking to see if he's got anyone, but those are the only two guys I see. Running back, great guys to have though. Good anchors for running back.
Yeah, and we play two
Yeah.
running back, two wide receiver, two flex, so it's possible to just play two running back.
Yeah, and I
then
mean
play
he
wide
really
receiver
can
and
do
running
that
back if
because
you
he's
have
got Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks. Playing Jeff Wilson in the flex now does have Chris Godwin on his IR, so love Chris Godwin when he comes back. Also has Brian Robinson, so just think his team's really good overall. Going to be really good the whole year.
And he has Travis Kelce.
Oh yeah.
Which.
Yep.
Oh
and
yeah,
Travis.
and he has Travis Kelce.
Cherry on top.
we didn't even say that, but
Just for clarity,
that's a
sorry.
That's
Just
kind
for
of
clarity's
like
sake, where did he rank for each of us individually? Sorry, consensus 1. But
For me, he was 1.
I had I had Jason second. You had Jason
Yeah.
second. Brendan had Jason number 1. So me and Trev actually both had Tebow number 1. And we talked about the pros of his
Yeah,
team.
I don't like
And you actually had
Patterson
Tebow
and
as
Elliott
fourth.
as starters, and then Saquon I'm still nervous about. So that's the reason why.
just wanted to clarify so we can call our shots later.
Yep, makes sense.
Yep. So that is our rankings. Took a little bit
Alright.
long on that, but we'll just quickly go over our starts and stinkers because you guys rolled out this segment last time on the last episode.
Love
it.
Yeah.
And we're doing pretty good on
All
time
right.
from what I've been
So
keeping track of.
I'll let you guys helm this segment because this is your little love child of a segment. So take it away, guys.
Sam, I would love for you to host this segment. You go for it, brother.
Okay. Yeah, so we introduced this segment last week. This is kind of our way to give props to the guys in our league that we think made good starts and, rag on the guys that we think made bad starts in our league. It's fun because we're going to try to keep track of it throughout the course of as we go on throughout the course of the season. I'm going to pull up the total tally so I can give the tally at the end. But let's see. Our first start of the week, and then this is the one that you picked. So you can take this one now. I'm going to pull up the last week so we can keep score.
Yeah. So I mean, Trev, you've got me as a start, champion. Because I played Waddle over Chark. Very tough decision for me. Was stewing it over. Went back and forth a lot. Definitely wasn't between Romeo Doubs and DJ Chark. Really was considering sitting Waddle after he had a touchdown and 70 yards last week. So but I'll take it.
I mean, yeah, no, I know you still played Dobbs, but you didn't have Waddle in your initial lineup, and you did have Chark, so I took that with what it was.
Yeah. Let's see. The next one we had Tebow playing Tua over Joe Flacco. Did you put that one in?
I had a hard time finding. I had a hard time finding one.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put one in this week because I could not find one that was just really good.
Last week there was a ton.
Yeah.
This week a lot of it was chalk. I mean, a lot of it was play guys that are going to score high and don't play guys that won't. Yeah. So, not that anybody was going to start Flacco over Tua, but some people may have.
But the fact that he got
I mean,
points from Tua is
so I mean
cool,
that's
the fact that you had Tua starting like that must have felt good because
it felt good, right? It felt good, right? And so it's a good point. We'll see if we keep this segment up, in future weeks. It is kind of hard in Dynasty because it's like, it's a little bit, the start-sit decisions are a little bit more locked in, especially with how big our starting rosters are. So we'll see if we keep it up. The last one I had was at first I had false with Higbee over Dawson Knox, which I thought was a good start, but then I realized his tight end position was Darren Waller, and so he played Higbee over Knox in the flex. But Higbee's still had a good game this week, so I thought that was that's a good call, especially playing a tight end in your flex. That's a little bit of a risk, and he ended up being pretty good. So, and then our stinkers, I guess it's kind of more fun to do the stinkers. Well, we might just eliminate the starts. I was about to
say, why don't we do one start? We'll find one start among the league.
That's what we'll do.
3 stinkers.
We'll do one good
Yeah.
start and then the stinkers.
There's
'cause
always
There's
Yeah.
always stinkers.
I like that.
And we talked about it before. For me, it was Lipster. He traded for Rashad White, ended up playing Rashad White. If he just stuck with Darrell Henderson, would have gotten the win. Or if he played Lockett over Metcalf, also would have gotten the win. So,
And so this was
2 in a row.
Hipsters.
and this was
second
also
stinker,
this
by
was
the
a
way. So that's
170 point score to 164. So a lot tougher when you lose with 164 points.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. The next stinker was Maddox.
I did.
Trev,
Yep.
did you put this one in? Yeah. And so this is actually also Maddox's.
We gotta do better,
stinker.
guys. We gotta do better.
So unfortunately, and we talked about Maddox having a pretty solid team and underperforming. So a little bit.
So what you're
team
saying is
management
I was the
into
only one who
play there.
climbed out of the pit.
Yeah.
You did, yes. You were the only
Yeah.
one to climb out of the
Yeah, he ended up.
this week.
You didn't say what the actual players were, but he
Go
didn't
ahead.
do the get right for Amari Cooper. So
I don't blame him though.
Juju started. I think I would have started Amari over Juju, but that's rough. That's rough trudging either way.
Yeah.
So I think he's still trying to rely on running back, and we just aren't there yet.
Yeah, and then we've
And then our last stinker this week is Wyatt. So Wyatt, the new addition to the stinkers this week. So that's one stinker for Wyatt.
now
two for
do we
Maddox,
think
and
that
one for
the
Goodman.
Packer co-manager had anything to do with the so I mean
So maybe we should give it to Cap
we had
as
two
the stinker.
homer picks here. Cap is a Packers fan with Tunyon. Wyatt got his Cardinals Ertz guy.
That's a good point.
I think we need to give it to
Cap
Wyatt too
until
because he
proven
wasn't banging
otherwise.
the table for his Ertz play.
You know what?
That's
Let me
true.
tell you something
That's
real
true.
quick. So we have a tight end premium league, and no, sorry, it's rhymes with orange. So we have an IDP league, and Cap started Tunyon in the flex over about 2 or 3 different guys that would have gotten the win because he believed in him. So if we're gonna throw that on anybody, I'm the one that threw it on Wyatt, but you know what? I think that's Cap.
Yeah, that's Cap.
That's Cap.
So that's our start stinker category. It's I think going forward
It's more
we're just gonna
fun.
keep track of the stinkers.
Yeah.
So it's really only to make fun of people. We
Shame
don't
on
wanna give
you
anybody credit.
for
That's
To
not
be
your
fun
honest,
for
terrible
us.
start.
terrible. I don't want to do that at all.
So we're gonna no. So we're just gonna make fun of people. That's all we're gonna do now. We might give props to one start, but I'm not keeping track.
Keep
Just
track for
of
yourself,
the
guys.
stinkers. We're also going to talk a little bit about some trades, but I think really the only trade that we really wanted to talk about was the one that Trevor and I completed early in the wee hours of the morning. Which is that's the time that I'm least awake.
Yeah, that's the morning dumpy trade that you're sitting on the toilet looking at how your team could be better.
Oh, 100%. Put up like, oh crap, my team's. I just lost Trey Lance.
I'm 22 ounces of coffee in.
And then you go to Trev, and he's like, "I'll only give you Marcus Mariota." If you
So every Trev
players.
trade ever.
Yeah, no, literally, I've tried to trade for him with like.
No, you need my roster.
No, it's got to be a package.
No, let me explain this to folks that may be new.
Real quick,
player.
Go ahead. Okay, so I just wanted.
If you have a player.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying it.
Nope.
All right, so basically, I just wanted to break down the trade before you started talking. It's 223 seconds, a 24 first, and a 24. So wait,
and a 24.
223 223 seconds, a 24 first, a second, and a 25 second for Irv Smith, Marcus Mariota, James Cook, George Pickens, and a 23 third.
All right, so let me explain something for some of y'all that may be a little new, which none of our league mates are, if you're listening. But if you have a decent player who's not great, but he's worth something, you're going to get way more packaging him. So, like, we all know how to package players. We were talking about it earlier, Curtis Samuel, trying to get,
Is this where you talk about
I
how
did
you
not
destroyed
destroy
me
you in this
trade?
trade. I actually think this was okay. So
I don't think so either.
This
but
is
I
how
was
I
like, is
sold
that
it
what's
to
about to
Sam,
happen?
and this is what I truly believe. His picks are probably not going to be high picks. They're probably going to be mid to late. At best, they're mid picks.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
So this is a starting quarterback who played against two good defenses and did okay against them. Future wide receiver 1. I don't care what you say about George Pickens. That dude is for real. James Cook, question marks for sure. But Big Irv had a big game too when they actually wanted to involve him. I mean, these are good pieces for what is probably picks.
And we started this trade. I've been trying to trade for Irv before the game.
Me
So I
too.
still believed.
Yeah, I mean, so as a non-biased party, because I was not involved in the trade, I will elaborate my opinion.
Yes. Please tell us your
I
opinion.
do like the side of the picks more, even if they are lower value picks. You're getting 4 second-round picks and a first-round pick for Irv Smith, who, in all fairness, you guys are higher on. I'm not as high on. Mariota, a guy who probably won't be a starting quarterback next year. I know you needed quarterback, though. James Cook, a 2023 third doesn't really matter to me. Is that one of your third? Is that one of your thirds though?
It's an
Trev?
early third. It's a
It's
projected
why.
early
Okay,
third.
so
so
it's a top
it's
third.
why
So
it's
it matters a little bit more, but still not a whole lot. So basically, you're taking flyers on George Pickens and James Cook. I think George Pickens, the talent looks pretty good. Just we don't really know what that Steelers offense is going to be. James Cook hasn't looked incredible, and that backfield is muddled. So
yeah. And I think it was for me, it was like I was pretty biased towards this trade because it's like I get a 1-year replacement quarterback, which is all I need. That's all I wanted to pay for. I didn't want to pay for more than that. Like I get Irv, who I'm very high on. James Cook, I already have Singletary, so hopefully if I lose Singletary, I get James Cook value in replacement. And then I get Pickens. I have Pickett, so I got to Pickens stack.
10 times fast. I love it.
So it was like I feel like their players were all like very well suited to my team.
Yeah, by no means do I think it's a lopsided trade, and like. For me personally, just the way I have like Irv Smith and James Cook valued. George Pickens could be really good though.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll talk about.
Yep, but that's.
Yeah.
I think that's all we need to talk about for trades.
We don't want to talk about me trading in one of our other leagues, Donovan Peoples-Jones for Equinemius St. Brown and Jalen Warren. We don't want to talk about that blockbuster trade. The Bears wide receiver one getting shipped away.
I thought it was Dante Pettis. Is it
not? Man.
I saw someone put him on the trade block. I was like,
was that Trevor? I think Trev probably.
No.
It was a strain who's worse than Trevor.
I think that was it. I was in one league with him last year.
When it comes to that. He puts every single.
Well, that's also what Trevor likes to put his players on the trade block, and then 5 hours later, put every single person on the trade block again, just to muddy up the.
You were pissing off like everybody in the league. We were like, dude, stop.
I love that you think so much of me that you think I do it every 5 hours. I do it every time I think about it. So I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's 5-6 times a day. Sometimes it's once a week. It really just. I'm like, you know what? I could really use a refresher. Let's scratch that itch.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Let's go.
Week
3 preview. Another great segment that we're adding in going forward. And so you guys want to talk about your picks last week because I was not here to make picks. So
yeah, so this is another like cool thing that we do focused on our league of record. We have this is like a half advice podcast, half like something we do as a hobby for our friends in our league. So we talked. And this I really like this segment, Trev. I think you did too. We're just going to look at, and it's a good way to do a preview of week 3. We're going to look at some matchups in our league and the players they have starting and kind of pick a winner. Last week's picks, we picked J-Med versus M-Long. We both went
That
J-Med.
was
Who's
J-Med
the
because he
winner
is
of that
2-0.
matchup?
J-Med. Yep.
J-Med. So, hey, there we go. Got that one right. The second one, Brendan versus Maddox.
With the
I had
upset,
Brendan.
Sam
Trev, you had
getting the
Maddox.
upset.
Running
I was
back
like a
not go
20
off.
point dog in this.
Let's go.
CMC not being
Let's go.
CMC.
Called the
Eckler not being
upset.
Eckler.
Yeah.
Good call.
I called
Good
the
call.
upset. It went against the percentages that with Brendan's team. I had to back my
Yeah,
guy.
hey,
You
thank
said
you.
we
I
were dogging
appreciate
on
it.
you,
You know,
man.
you had faith in me to start Jalen Waddle over DJ Chark, and I did this week. Yeah, so I
To
really
make that
pulled it through
incredible
for
start
you.
decision.
Glad I could prove you right, Sam.
Last one, Hipster versus T-Bogard. We both picked
Yep.
T-Bogard. Ended up being a very
And
close
Lipster should
matchup,
have
like
won.
we've discussed.
I mean, that's yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, though, I do
it
think if
was
we're
very
saying
close.
Lipster
We
should have
both
won,
picked
I think
T-Bogard,
Tebow also had like the highest possible points on the week. I think he had like 214 points. So if we're saying like redos, Tebow's team crushed it both on the starting and bench. So yeah.
Yeah, we've all been a part of those matchups where you're one of the best teams in the league, and then you get smashed by like the best, like at least for that week, the best team in the league, and that's Lipster's just been a little unfortunate.
Yeah. So I jotted these three matchups down earlier in our doc because these are some pretty good matchups that we want to watch out for, and I think it's going to be fun to pick. So we've got T-Bog versus Wubba Lubba Dub Dub, both 2-0 going in. So let's check right
Only
now.
one coming out undefeated.
And currently,
going to lose.
yeah,
and their percentage
so
is like
it's
49-51. I mean,
it's close here. And man, this is tough because you're really just looking. Are the wide receivers going to go off here? You know, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson. And for me, I'm going to say yes, they do. Because you've got Jefferson against Detroit, Kupp against Arizona, and Chase against the Jets. Those guys are going to feast. So give me Wubba Lubba Dub Dub this week.
What is the other roster look like? I can't look at it from here.
Yeah, here, let me read it out for you. So T-Bog's got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Saquon and Cordero at running back, Tyreek and Debo at wide receiver, Mandrews at tight end, and then James Conner and Zeke
And then
at flex.
Wubba Lubba Dub Dub's got
flex.
Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins as quarterbacks, Travis Etienne and Damian Harris as running backs. And then you've got Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Elijah Moore in receiver and flex, and then Kyle Pitts at tight end.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go Wubba Lubba Dub as well. I don't feel good about Zeke.
Yep.
Connor might be out this week. Dallas defense looked good last week. That's kind of why they won the game against the Bengals. So I don't feel great about this being a Saquon week. Yeah, so it's gonna be Wubba Lubba Dub Dub for me.
Be the different here.
All right.
Tebow.
All right. So next we've got another close matchup. It's a 50-50 percentage, and you're in this one, Sam. It's Sam versus False. 131.66 for False, 131.62 for Sam. So 0.04 margin here. And all right, I'll read off the roster for you, Trev, because I know you can't see. We've got False with Allen and Hurts. And our listener. That's also a great point.
Either, so.
We are very good at podcasting here.
We expect you to write these down at home.
Yeah.
You write down the whole
We're like, right, just because Trev can't see.
Trev is our
matchup,
listener.
You know?
So.
That's true.
Yeah, it's actually good.
I'm key demographic right
now. Yeah. So False has Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Antonio Gibson, David Montgomery at running back, Christian Kirk, Darnell Mooney, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Tyler Higbee in receiver and flex, and then Darren Waller at tight end.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's got Pittman.
I think he's going to change out.
Yeah, he's got Pittman. So Pittman over Peoples-Jones.
So he'll put Pittman in.
And then, Sam, you want to read off your team?
Okay. Yeah, I've got unfortunately, Daniel Jones, Marcus Mariota at quarterback. But
yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb at running back, A.J. Brown, T. Higgins at wide receiver, Freiermuth at tight end, and then Terry McLaurin. And then I'm playing Ayuk this week
I like
over
that.
Hunt. So I think Jimmy G's back in. Brandon Ayuk against Denver. Denver's been an absolute disaster so far. Surtain probably still out with injury. So
Hey, I'm just gonna take a guess and say that you're backing yourself here, Sam. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, got to. I mean, I got to pick my
Who
own
wouldn't?
team for sure.
Yeah, Trev, who you got here?
I got false.
You got false.
I got false. I think Pity.
Oof,
I think Pity City
betrayal.
feast, and we seen what that offense looked like without him. I mean, it's.
I would like the record to show. I do think false probably wins because I think his players have better matchups than you this week, Sam. But since you rode with me last week, I'm gonna ride with you, Sam. Let's ride.
That's right. That's right.
Let's ride. So Sam is gonna take
right.
this close win. I'm calling. The projections are right. I think it's going to be less than a point victory for Sam here. And then our final matchup, we've got an 0-2 Maddox versus a 1-1 Emlong, but both teams that are in our top half of the league. So both teams looking to try and get a little hot going into the season. And I'll start off with reading Maddox's team. We've got Russell Wilson, Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon at running back and flex, Deontay Johnson and Mike Williams at wide receiver, and Dallas Goedert at tight end. And then Emlong, you've got Kyler Murray, Carson Wentz at quarterback. You've got Miles Sanders, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara at running back and flex, and then you've got Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Jahan Dotson at wide receiver and flex, and then you have Evan Ingram at tight end.
If you take out AK, who's coming in?
Let me check here for you. So his bench right now, he's got Josh Jacobs.
Well, he has Marvin Ingram.
Gabe
he
Davis.
Has Mark Ingram.
I would assume.
Davis, probably. Yeah.
He has Gabe Davis.
Oh, wait.
Gabe Davis and
Gabe Davis
Josh Jacobs are the two that I would assume if Alvin Kamara misses. Yeah.
Josh Jacobs on his IR right now. Yeah, I couldn't.
I'll start it off here. Give me Maddox.
That's pretty good.
I'm calling the first win here. You know, underperforming so far, but bounce back week for him.
Maddox is. Yeah, I agree.
I'm
going to side with Brendan on this one. I do think it's Maddox's get right week. I think he's 1-2 and going to be a high points for, high points against team.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Gabe Davis coming in for AK. Yeah, I think I gotta go Emlong here. I think Garrett Wilson could have another great game. I think Devontae Adams is gonna have a great game. Yeah. Evan Ingram, I really like Evan Ingram. Dotson Wentz stack. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
All right. So
I was 3-0 last
currently
week.
0-0 for me. 0-0.
I don't know how we'll 0-0, but we'll keep track of everybody's records here throughout the week too. This will be like our.
All right, and then lastly, we'll get into our final couple segments here. Not going to be breaking down every game. That'd be crazy, but some fun storylines in games that we want to pay attention to. And for me, the storyline that I want to watch, or the game that I want to watch, after a great performance, this is actually more of a storyline. I think I kind of got them mixed backwards. So for me, my game that I want to watch is the Broncos 49ers, and I want to answer a couple questions with this game. Do the Broncos suck? And is Jimmy G a better quarterback for the fantasy options in San Francisco?
Yeah. I think that's like a fantasy storyline and a game to watch. Yeah.
So in this game, you're going to be looking. First off, is Jerry Jeudy going to play? Sunday night game. It's going to be a game time decision probably. If he doesn't, Cortland Sutton, you would love to see him feed. You want to see him get into the end zone. Almost had a touchdown last week, but didn't end up getting it. Just want to see a little bit better. He had over 100 yards, but man, I really thought touchdown monster for Cortland Sutton. So 2 weeks now, also playing against bad teams. You really want to see him get into the end zone. And then Jimmy G. Jimmy G has supported Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle as top fantasy players. So we only saw Trey Lance do it for 1 week, and it didn't look great. But now Jimmy G is here. Are the 49ers going to be even better for you guys to start with more confidence going forward?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess we're doing storylines first, Trev. So your storyline was the Chicago.
I think I'm wondering the same thing everybody else is wondering. Is anybody on that Chicago offense worth starting? I mean, it's bad, guys. And we all knew it was going to be bad, but we all had Kmet, we all had Mooney. I mean, it's bad.
I think we thought it was going to be bad, but they would still throw the ball. And it's bad, and
we thought Montgomery was going to get a ton of work. They weren't going to try to, use Khalil Herbert a ton, and we thought they were going to throw to Kmet and throw to Mooney because who else is there? And it's just there's nothing that's worth.
Yeah.
Listen, if they're
yeah, but I mean, so we're giving it another game though, right? We're not counting the flood game, so we're saying this is
if there's a
evidence. So that's what you're watching, Trev. Is this, does it get right?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Does it get right after this?
If there's a get right game, it's going to be against Houston. You would have to think, right? So
absolutely, 100%. So, my storyline, we talked a little bit about it this week. Trevor Lawrence was my, I think, number 7 or number 8 Dynasty quarterback coming into the year. You guys had him really low. I love Trevor Lawrence. He's looked great. So for me, it's like, okay, you have Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert playing each other. Like, how does Trevor Lawrence look keeping it up against one of the already top-tier quarterbacks in the league? Can he go blow to blow with Justin Herbert? Do the Jags continue to get better week after week? That's the storyline.
If Justin Herbert is clearly visibly hurt, but Jacksonville comes out with a win, does that affect what you're thinking at all, or is it still like
no? Because
no, I think if they can come out with a win,
Chargers
that's
defense
huge
is legit,
for the Jags, regardless.
So, yeah, it is.
So if Lawrence can look decent, no, he doesn't even have to look great. If he can look good against that defense, that's going to be a big booster of confidence.
Yeah, doesn't look like out of his depth. I think.
Yeah.
Man. So those are storylines, and then we each picked a game we want to watch. Last week, Trev and I picked a winner for these games. I think we were different on all of them, right? Like last week we picked Herbert Mahomes. I think you took Chiefs. I took Chargers. So that was one for you, Trev. Vikings Eagles.
Vikings Eagles definitely would have been my game to watch, and it was not a great game.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Except for the Vikings not showing up.
Well, except if you're an Eagles fan. Yeah. It was a great game if you're an Eagles fan. Seahawks 49ers. I think we both actually had Seahawks as a potential upset there, but didn't happen. And then Denver, Houston, you were saying, and Trev, you called this as this being an almost upset for Houston, but they still suck. So this week.
Yeah, I'll kick it off real quick because I don't think we need to talk about it too much. It's just Dolphins Bills. Can Tua do what he did against the Ravens against the Bills, or not exactly that, because he's not going to be able to do that. He's not going to throw for 6 touchdowns, 400 plus yards. Can he look good and repeat strong fantasy performances against an amazing defense?
It's a good defense. That was going to be my fantasy storyline, but I saw you already had it as a game.
And it's not like the Bills' offense is a joke.
That's something
it's a double-headed snake. You got to come play on both sides of the ball.
Oh yeah, they're going to have to keep up. They're going to have to keep up with that offense.
This Bills team has gone against the Super Bowl champion Rams and the previous number 1 seed in the AFC, and they've scored, I think it's 72 points to 17 is their point differential. So I mean, this team is unbelievable.
Dude, Josh Allen is coming out to prove a point. Like, he's coming out to be like they're the team.
I mean, I'm really
So
happy
good,
that I
man.
had them
They're so
against
good.
the Bucks in the Super Bowl. So that was a really great pick by me.
Wait. No.
No,
I think it was a different team that started with a B.
I don't think so.
Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. The same. They both good things, I'm sure.
I think
All right.
Russell Wilson was my mind guy.
Next
I can't
game.
talk about my guys.
Trev, you picked. You
Yeah.
want to watch
Okay.
an Atlanta
So the
game?
whole reason I want to watch an Atlanta game is because they came back from a 28-3 deficit at the half to put it within 6 and give the game away in the fourth quarter, like they always are going to do. But Seattle actually sucks, so it's going to be interesting to see a bad Atlanta team go against a bad Seattle team instead of a good New Orleans defense and a good Rams team. I'm actually interested to see. Yeah,
Great
I'm actually
Rams
interested to
defense,
see
yeah.
if this Atlanta offense, because the defense isn't going to do much, but if the Atlanta offense can actually put up points, they're going to be in shootouts throughout the year, just hawking the ball down the field.
Yeah. Big
Fingers
Kyle Pitts
crossed,
bounce
big
back week, I
Mariota
think.
week.
Here. That's what I'm projecting.
Big Kyle Pitts bounce back
I
week.
would think CP Pitts,
Don't own any
London.
Kyle Pitts yet, so
I
hopefully
would
this
think
trade
all of
gets
them
accepted.
beef this
Yeah.
game.
You've got.
Last pick for game of the week, I picked. These guys all typed it in before.
Well,
me,
you
so
have
I had
an
to,
elite
I went last one.
quarterback,
But I
and
think this is a
then
good one.
Joe Burrow, also, like in this game.
right, exactly.
Yeah, both of the
elite
Joe
quarterback Joe
Cools.
Flacco, according to somebody in this podcast.
Gross.
Bengals versus Jets is my pick. Bengals are 0-2, and they show all of the deficiencies of last year and none of the good things. The explosives aren't working. They're getting serious pressure on Joe Burrow, as always. They haven't looked like the team that made it to a Super Bowl. They won a lot of close games last year, and I think we said it on previous podcasts that it wasn't a lock that they were going to be good. At least I said it. So I'm honestly like, this is a potential upset for me. Like, I think this would be, if I was going to pick an almost upset of the week, that's this for me, Jets over the Bengals. I think the Bengals are still going to come in, saying like, oh, finally we're going to win one. But the Jets are looking confident, and winning games they're really not expected to right now. So I think it's going to be a closer game than maybe we thought beginning of the season, at least.
I mean, listen, I would love it if the Bengals started 0-3, because that would just be great for the Ravens. But yeah, the offensive line has looked terrible, and they spent what was it, $70 million or something on it this past offseason. So at least you've got good weapons there. So
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just if we're picking almost upsets, as much as I love the Eagles, Eagles play Washington. I think that game is going to be pretty close. I think Wentz is going to do Wentz things.
I don't know. I thought it was until I saw the game last week.
Eagles are good.
Like, dang,
they're really
Eagles
good.
So good.
Wentz might have two pick sixes. I don't know. I'm reconsidering.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Nah, stick with it. I gotta stick with it. Stick with my guy.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, we'll see in our pick'em. So I think that's something else we want to add this week. We have a pick'em that we do in our league of record. Me and Brendan were tied last week. Brendan pulled ahead. Jeez, I mean, you picked like two.
Guys, I'm on fire, guys.
You picked two incredible weeks
you
in a
really
row.
are.
You're on fire. Two incredible weeks in a row.
You picked a great week. You picked a great week.
Like, I was like, and you picked two amazing weeks.
So I went 12-4 this week. I went 10-4-1 last week, and I didn't pick the Bills-Rams game, but I would have gone Bills. So realistically, I should be 11-4-1 and 12-4. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm doing pretty good. I mean, it's gonna come to a grinding halt at some point. Yeah.
And hopefully you get a good enough lead. But, you know, anyways, we'll try to keep you guys updated on how that's going. Maybe have some kind of, fun punishment for the guy who does worst every week. We'll see. It's going to be Trevor every week, though.
Well,
so,
when Trevor's picking his Atlanta team
punishment?
to win against
No,
the Rams.
I was thinking about that. If we do the pick 'em just on the 3 games we point out, it's going to be a lot more narrow versus on a season
We could do
line.
that.
That's
I
true.
also
So just to pick them on our 3
Yep.
games,
exactly.
our 3
I also
games
wanted
of
to
the
point
week.
out.
I like that. So who do we have in these games?
We didn't, but
I don't think we
also
picked
my
winners.
possible upset of the week, I would say, would be Washington at
We can
home
just look
against
at the
Philly. I think everybody expects Philly to come in and dominate, but I think Washington could do.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what
Yep.
Brendan
We're
said.
on the
I
same
think.
page.
Yeah.
And Brendan said it when your phone had to move your phone. Well, we can see. I can see from the pick'em who everybody picked for our 3 games, and I can keep track of that. It's a good idea, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, real quick,
Cool.
I just feel like I need to toot my own horn here with the pick'ems because I.
No, you did. You've done great. We get it. All right, we get it. Well, here.
Thank you.
It's really
Thank you. But we talked about it before. I think I had like I switched 5
Good
picks
job.
before,
Good
and then
job,
I
buddy.
hit on 4 of them. So I got pretty.
I
Yeah.
switched 3 and
It's
hit
impressive.
on 1. So.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Not as impressive. Nice. I was keeping even with you, and then the Raiders
You know what?
game
I mean, I
just
just
threw
got
me
lucky
off
with the
of
Cardinals
my
game. I might have to
streak, so-
release all my picks so that we could, on the line and people can put them in a parlay or yeah. I'll definitely go
make some money
16 and
off
0
that. Then
at
we'll
some
really have
point
listeners.
this season. But all right, I think that's gonna wrap it up. We gone through a whole bunch of these segments. We'll kind of pick and choose and condense and work out the kinks throughout the season. And
Mm-hmm.
but
Definitely still
love
tune in.
getting more in depth with our league of record that we have that we're very attached to. So definitely gonna be fun to keep an eye on that and join us throughout the season and see who sucks and who doesn't. Trev is going to be terrible the entire year, but I mean.
Oh, hey. Speaking of, let me interrupt you. I'm so sorry. Speaking of punishments, we didn't actually define one. So, guys, in the league of record, there, if you guys want to throw out some ideas, I've got a few as well. But we'll start brainstorming that and see what Brendan's going to be doing.
Something tame
that we can do during the
tame
podcast,
and
preferably.
doable.
Yeah, no tattoo, preferably.
Yeah, exactly.
Not feeling the tattoo.
No.
The weekly thing. Okay.
Pick-em?
You don't want to get a weekly tattoo?
No, I'm getting 18 tattoos this year.
No.
Yeah, but we'll figure something out. So
no, not happening. Yeah, we will.
Just
But,
yeah,
thanks
great
for
to be
hosting,
back.
Brendan. Good to have you back.
Man, it was tough watching those games in Europe. So I was in Europe. Got the NFL Game Pass, but man, that thing sucks. And it was good to come back to the Sunday Ticket, which, man, I could go on a rant about that. That thing crashed for 2 hours, and I didn't even get to watch the Ravens playing well. And when it finally came back on, they were just getting dog walked. So.
My electricity went out. Somebody blew a transformer out here. I didn't even get to watch half the games this week.
Yeah.
Sucks.
So that'll do it. Just real quick, gonna drop the Twitter for you. The Dynasty Pod at the Dynasty Pod FF. Any questions, comments, concerns about fantasy, let us know. That's gonna do it. It's been me, Brendan, Sam, and Trev signing off. Peace out.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, that too. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.